The fiery summer of 1982 in Spain. That was the year the Brazilian national team, under the leadership of coach Telê Santana, captivated fans worldwide, writing one of the most beautiful yet unfinished love songs in football history. With a generation of talented players dubbed artists of the pitch, and a style of play called Joga Bonito, pure, beautiful football, fiery attack, and masterful ball control. They came not only to compete for the gold trophy, but also to redefine beauty. Despite their defeat to Italy in the Sarrià tragedy, the 1982 Seleção has become an unforgettable part of memory, a benchmark of romance that modern football will forever cherish. But when the stadium lights dimmed, when the cheers of that summer faded into the past, the heroes of yesteryear returned to the real world, full of twists and turns. More than 40 years have passed, and time has etched different marks on their lives. Some have become legends, continuing to shape the world of football. Some have chosen a secluded life by the sea, and others have had to end their journey in heartbreaking tragedy. Let's pause and look deeply into the tumultuous paths of the souls who created that golden generation. Zico, the embodiment of enchantment on the pitch, the man who captivated the world with every touch of the ball that year. In the Brazilian team that year, Arthur Antunes Coimbra, or Zico, was the heart and soul of the midfield. At 29 years old, wearing the legendary number 10 shirt, he possessed all the qualities of perfection. Sharp tactical vision, perfectly curved free kicks, and the goal-scoring ability of a striker in a midfielder's body. 4 goals in the tournament were just the tip of the iceberg of his sublime performance. On the pitch in 1982, Zico was an uncrowned king, controlling the samba rhythm with elegance and precision, leaving even his opponents in awe. Leaving behind his Spanish summer, Zico's career continued its epic saga. He conquered Italy with Udinese, where the people of Udine revered him as a living legend, before returning to Flamengo to continue his glory. But the biggest turning point in his life lay in the Far East. Zico single-handedly laid the foundation for professional football in Japan when he joined Kashima Antlers. More than just a player, he became a mentor and missionary, elevating Japanese football to a world-class level. Zico's personal life was as fulfilling as his playing style. A family man, avoiding scandals and always maintaining an exemplary image. He never truly left football, continuously taking on coaching roles for national teams such as Japan and Iraq, as well as major clubs in Turkey and Russia. The connection between Zico on and off the field is remarkably consistent. If on the field he is a conductor leading an orchestra with calmness and wisdom, off the field he is a true professor of football, a brilliant manager with strategic vision. Without fanfare or ostentation, Zico uses his talent and character to win everyone over. Today, in his 70s, Zico continues to dedicate himself to football as a senior advisor at Kashima Antlers and as a global ambassador for the sport. His hair has turned white, but the gentle smile and sharp eyes of the white Pele remain intact, a living testament to a pure and enduring love of football. Socrates, the man who unleashed the final dance of a philosopher on the pitch, with a demeanor that made the whole world stop to admire him. Alongside Zico, it's impossible not to mention Socrates, the great captain with his lanky figure, thick beard, and romantic headband. At 28, he was not only a talented midfielder with skillful backheel passes and penetrating passes, but also a spiritual leader, a true thinker on the field. Socrates played football with a relaxed and arrogant air, as if strolling between the life and death lines of the game. For him, football wasn't simply about winning or losing, but an art form, a voice of democracy and freedom. After the 1982 World Cup, Socrates continued his unusual journey. He moved to Italy to play for Fiorentina, but quickly realized he didn't fit into the Calcio game. Then returned to Brazil to continue the famous Corinthian democracy movement. What's remarkable is that alongside his football career, he was actually a medical doctor, an intellectual deeply concerned about politics and society. Socrates' private life was a tapestry of contrasts. A wise man, a journalist, a sharp political commentator, but also a lonely soul who sought solace in alcohol. He lived a free-spirited life, loved passionately, and drank just as passionately, much like how he played, without conforming to any rules. The greatest tragedy of this genius lies in the contrast between a doctor who saves lives and a self-destructive lifestyle. While he was as level-headed on the field as he was emotionally driven in life, It seems the burden of fame and the anxieties of the times led the doctor to seek solace in alcohol. However, this poetic yet turbulent journey came to an abrupt end. On a December day in 2011, Socrates passed away at the age of 57 from an intestinal infection, a consequence of years of alcohol abuse. His death coincidentally coincided with the day his beloved Corinthians team won the championship, fulfilling his wish during his lifetime. His legacy is not just his goals, but the image of a unique philosopher of the pitch in history. Paulo Roberto Falcao, the King of Rome, stepped onto the Spanish stage with an aura that was hard to ignore. If Zico was the brain and Socrates the ideology, then Falcao was the true heartbeat of the Seleção that year. At 28, he possessed a rare aristocratic demeanor, playing as a defensive midfielder but with the smooth technique of a classic number 10, both strong in tackles and subtly initiating attacks. The decisive goal against Italy in that fateful match, along with the moment of triumphant, heart-pounding celebration, became a symbol of an entire nation's aspirations. Falcao was the perfect blend of strength and beauty, just as the Italians honored him, the 8th Emperor of Rome. Falcao's club career was closely tied to AS Roma, where he was revered like a god. He led the team to a historic Scudetto victory after a 41-year wait, establishing himself as one of the greatest foreign players in Sarrià history. After retiring, Falcao didn't choose to rest. He embarked on a coaching career, managing both the Brazilian and Japanese national teams, although he didn't achieve the same resounding success as during his playing career. Furthermore, with his elegant appearance and eloquent speaking ability, he became a leading and respected football commentator in Brazil, where his analysis was always listened to with utmost respect. Falcao's life is a model of a star who knows how to maintain his fame. He is successful in business, has a happy family, and always appears in public with a neat and elegant appearance, just like his playing style. Without any scandalous controversies, Falcao has translated his intelligence on the field into wisdom in real life. Today, in his 70s, Falcao remains a powerful figure in sports media, living a prosperous and fulfilling life, and continuing to inspire future generations with his profound knowledge. Leo Jr., the multi-talented artist on the wing, emerged as a bright highlight among the stars of that year. In the Brazilian team, Jr. was the most cheerful and enduring note. Despite being deployed as a left-back at the age of 27, he played like a true playmaker, his distinctive curly hair, skillful technique, and tireless runs up and down the pitch. His goal against Argentina, scored with a surprise run into the penalty area, only further confirmed his all-around abilities. But Junior doesn't just shine on the pitch. He's also the keeper of the samba flame in the dressing room, bringing laughter and optimism that helps the whole team maintain the highest morale. What's remarkable about Junior is his longevity in his career. After the 1982 World Cup, he moved to Italy to play for Torino and Pescara, becoming an idol there thanks to his intelligent and skillful play. Upon returning to Brazil to play for Flamengo, he even switched to playing as an attacking midfielder and continued to play at the highest level until the age of 39, not stopping there. After retiring from 11-a-side football, Junior became a legend of beach soccer, helping Brazil dominate the world in this sport. His personal life is also full of artistic flair. He once recorded a samba song that sold very well in Italy. Junior embodies the joy of living, of the balance between passion and career. From a hard-working fullback to a television star, Junior's transformation has been as seamless as his ball handling. Currently, Junior is one of Globo's leading football commentators and analysts. His deep voice and insightful observations have become a familiar source of entertainment for Brazilian fans every weekend. He lives happily with his family, still sporting the same radiant smile, proving that football is not just about fighting, but also about enjoying life. Toninho Cerezo, the final piece of the Fantastic Four. It was a silent hero with boundless stamina. At 27, he dominated the pitch like a machine, working tirelessly to give Zico and Socrates the freedom to create. However, cruel fate turned him into the target of criticism with a misplaced pass against Italy, indirectly leading to Paolo Rossi's goal. That moment haunted his career, a painful blemish on an otherwise perfect canvas. However, Cerezo's life is a story of redemption and resilience. Leaving behind the sadness of 1982, he rose strongly in Sarrià with AS Roma and especially Sampdoria. There, he became a legend, helping Sampdoria win the Scudetto and reach the Champions League final. Cerezo proved that one mistake cannot define a person. In real life, he is known as a cheerful, humorous, and somewhat eccentric man, which helped him overcome the tremendous public pressure he faced years ago. He is also the father of the famous transgender model Leah T, and his public support for his daughter in front of the media shows a compassionate and modern fatherly heart. Cerezo's image on the court was always full of energy, and so was his life. He transformed the tears of 1982 into motivation to achieve glory later on. Now, after having held various coaching positions in Japan and Brazil, Cerezo enjoys a peaceful retirement. He still frequently appears on talk shows, recounting old memories with a cheerful smile, as proof that time and a positive attitude can heal all wounds. Eder, the cannon on the left flank. A quiet hero who always knew how to make the world pause in a moment. If you need a name that evokes explosive energy, it's Eder Aleixo. At 25, he was the terror of every goalkeeper thanks to his incredibly powerful left foot. His delicate chip shot against Scotland, or his cannonball strike against the Soviet Union at the 1982 World Cup have become immortal masterpieces. On the field, Eder is an unpredictable yet brilliant artist, one who can be quiet throughout the match and then suddenly decide the fate of the game with a single moment of brilliance. However, Eder's post-1982 career was not as brilliant as that of his teammates. His hot-tempered and somewhat arrogant personality made it difficult for him to maintain peak performance, leading to frequent club changes. He didn't have any blockbuster contracts in Europe or massive trophies. Eder gradually faded into obscurity, living a much quieter life than his past glory. He tried his hand at roles as technical director and coach at several smaller teams in Brazil, but without leaving a significant mark. The contrast between the explosive Eder on the field and the quiet Eder off the pitch is thought-provoking. It seems he poured all his talent and luck into that summer of 1982. Today, Eder lives a private life, occasionally participating in friendly matches with former football legends. Although he no longer appears frequently in the media, whenever the 1982 World Cup is mentioned, people cannot forget the image of the curly-haired striker with his left-footed swing that shook the stadium, a symbol of wild power and spontaneous beauty. Waldir Peres, the lonely goalkeeper amidst a team of dazzling attacking stars. In that Brazilian squad, Pere's position, then 31 years old, was always considered the weakest link. Despite being a legend of Sao Paulo, he continued to face heavy criticism at the 1982 World Cup, especially after his mistake in the opening match against the Soviet Union. Waldir Peres had to bear immense pressure as a defender for a team that only knew how to charge forward, often leaving them alone to face fierce counterattacks from their opponents. After the tournament, Waldir Peres continued to play consistently for domestic clubs such as America RJ, Guarani, and Corinthians before retiring in 1989. His life after football was quite turbulent. He tried his hand at coaching but did not achieve much success, and his personal life also experienced many family setbacks. He lived simply, sometimes even forgotten by fans or mentioned with reproach for his past failures. However, his 1982 teammates always held him in high regard, considering him an older brother, a person who silently endured sacrifices so that they could shine. He always maintained an optimistic and cheerful attitude whenever he appeared at former players' reunions, never complaining about fate or blaming his teammates for focusing too much on attacking and neglecting defense. However, the journey of this dedicated goalkeeper came to an end on a July afternoon in 2017. Waldir Peres died suddenly at the age of 66 after a heart attack while attending a birthday party. His passing shocked all of Brazil, making them realize that they owed him a more fitting recognition for his quiet contributions in goal for the greatest team in history. Leandro, the fisherman, with such supple feet that he turned the corridors into an art stage. Opposite Junior was José Leandro Ferreira, or simply Leandro. At 23, he was already considered one of the most complete fullbacks in the world. Not only was he solid defensively, but Leandro also played with the ease and technique of a classic number 10. His runs down the wing, his feints, and his crosses were so smooth that people likened him to an artist dancing on the grass rather than playing a game. Leandro was the perfect piece in Telê Santana's philosophy of beautiful football, a true artist in the role of defender. Unlike many of his teammates who chose Europe as their destination, Leandro's life was a hymn to loyalty and love for his homeland. His entire career was dedicated solely to the red and black colors of Flamengo. One of the most famous stories about this upright man is his refusal to participate in the 1986 World Cup at the peak of his form, simply to protest the exclusion of his close friend Renato Gaucho from the national team. Leandro valued friendship and principles more than the glory of the World Cup. After retiring early at the age of 31 due to a persistent knee injury, he completely withdrew from the spotlight of the football world, refusing all offers to coach or commentator. The connection between Leandro on and off the field is one of simplicity and authenticity. If on the field he plays football as naturally as breathing, off the field he chooses to live in harmony with nature. Currently, Leandro lives a quiet and happy life in his hometown of Cabo Frio. He owns a small guest house, Posada, by the sea, enjoying the pleasures of fishing and watching the sunset every day. For Leandro, football is just a beautiful phase, while real life is about inner peace, far removed from the noise of fame. Oscar, a silent but solid rock, possessing the heart of a mentor amidst a fiery attacking lineup. In that Brazilian team, Oscar Bernardi, the 27-year-old center-back wearing the number 3 jersey, was the most reliable anchor in the defense. He not only cleared the gaps left by his teammates but also served as a spiritual leader with his powerful playing style and excellent aerial ability. The winning goal against Scotland was clear evidence of Oscar's never-give-up fighting spirit. He embodied discipline and responsibility in a team that was often characterized by improvisation. After the 1982 defeat, Oscar continued to captain the Seleção at the 1986 World Cup. His club career spanned from Ponte Preta and New York Cosmos to Sao Paulo, and later years playing in Japan for Nissan FC, the predecessor of Yokohama F. Marinos. After retiring from playing, Oscar did not choose the path of professional coaching in major leagues to gain fame. Instead, he dedicated himself to youth development. He established the Oscar Inn Eco Resort Training Center in Brazil, which nurtured thousands of young talents and became a preferred training ground for many professional teams. The image of a steadfast Oscar, protecting his teammates on the pitch years ago, has carried over into his life as a mentor and godfather to new generations of players. He is a silent sower, using his experience and resources to build the foundation of football instead of seeking personal glory. Now, at 70 years old, Oscar continues to diligently manage his football center, living a meaningful life and respected by the Brazilian football community as one of the kindest people in the sport. Serginho Chulapa was the most controversial name in the 1982 Brazil squad, chosen at the last minute to replace the injured Careca. At the age of 28, Serginho, with his tall, clumsy physique, looked out of place among the technically gifted players like Zico and Falcao. He was often criticized for missing many good opportunities and for his playing style, which relied too much on strength and lacked the necessary finesse. Nevertheless, with 2 goals in the tournament, he still fulfilled his role as a monster in the penalty box, drawing opposing defenders away so that his teammates could shine. Serginho's life after the World Cup was as tumultuous and colorful as his playing style. While he was the greatest goal scorer in Sao Paulo's history, he became an icon and a longtime member of Santos's coaching staff. Serginho was known for his hot-tempered and outspoken personality, having been involved in numerous altercations on the pitch and even with reporters. He lived instinctively, without pretense, speaking his mind and acting honestly. Although not as highly regarded by experts for his tactical thinking as some of his teammates, Serginho had a successful coaching career as an assistant, loved by the players for his sincerity and humor. The contrast between him and his 1982 teammates continues in real life. While they were dapper gentlemen, Serginho was a rugged nomad, a street character. Even today, Serginho remains involved in football, frequently appearing with shocking yet entertaining statements. He He lives a joyful, carefree life and remains an integral part of São Paulo's football culture, proving that even in a beautiful symphony, rough, earthy notes are necessary for diversity. Luizinho, the forgotten defensive artist, who transforms defensive clearances into graceful strokes on the pitch. Partnering with Oscar, the 23-year-old Atletico Mineiro center-back embodies defensive finesse. If Oscar represents strength, Luizinho represents fluidity, a defender with the feet of a midfielder, possessing exceptional ability to escape pressing and initiate attacks. He didn't clear the ball. He passed it out of danger. At the 1982 World Cup, Luizinho played so brilliantly that he became a coveted player for European coaches, and even though Brazil were eliminated early, he is still considered one of the best central defenders of the tournament. Luizinho's career subsequently cemented his legendary status at Atletico Mineiro before moving to Sporting Lisbon in Portugal. However, he was less fortunate than his teammates, lacking major international titles. After retiring, Luizinho tried his hand at coaching but didn't leave a lasting impression. He chose a relatively private life, avoiding the media spotlight. Nevertheless, in the eyes of those who appreciate beautiful football, Luizinho remains the benchmark of the modern center-back that world football later became widespread. In real life, Luizinho is as gentle and refined as he is on the pitch. He doesn't get involved in controversies or create scandals. He embodies an unfulfilled beauty, a great talent who didn't get his time. Today, Luizinho still lives in Belo Horizonte and is revered by Atletico Mineiro fans as a living legend. He occasionally participates in club celebrations, maintaining the demeanor of a quiet gentleman who once transformed defending into an art form. Dirceu, the tireless bird who once soared across the world of football before a tragic end. He was the unsung hero wearing the number 11 shirt. Although at the 1982 World Cup he only played a strategic reserve role and appeared in just one match due to the brilliance of the midfield quartet, Dirceu was already a big name with extensive experience from the 1974 and 1978 World Cups. As a left-winger possessing a skillful left foot and powerful long-range shots, Dirceu was always the type of player who could decide a match. He was a talented nomad, having played on pitches across Brazil, Mexico, Spain, and Italy. Dirceu's life was a constant journey. He was nicknamed the Gypsy of Football for playing for nearly 20 clubs during his career. Wherever he went, he was loved for his professionalism and gentle smile. After retiring in the mid-1990s, Dirceu returned to Rio de Janeiro, harboring the dream of a peaceful life after years of wandering abroad. He cherished the dream of youth development and enjoying a peaceful life with his family. It seemed that this tireless bird had finally found a safe haven. However, fate had a cruel twist of events for this wandering artist. Shortly after retiring, on September 15, 1995, Dirceu tragically died in a horrific traffic accident in Rio de Janeiro at the age of 43. A runaway street racing car claimed his life while he was traveling with a friend. Dirceu's sudden death was a huge shock, leaving immeasurable grief for his teammates and fans. He was the first star of the golden generation of 1982 to depart this world, leaving behind unfinished plans and a smile that ended at the age of 40. His legacy is the image of a dedicated player, a gentleman with a short life, like a somber note in the magnificent epic of the Seleção of that era.